This project is the hardest project I've ever been involved with. We shot in 9 countries.
We were really going to some of the hardest places to film, some of the poorest and most crowded, congested places.
We told very difficult stories.
Everybody said that this project could not land on television in America, that nobody in America wants to watch these stories.
I read the book, and I actually found it very difficult to get through initially. And I think what pulled me through, and I think it was very much Nick and Sheryl's intention as authors, was stories and women, and being able to connect to somebody.
These were stories of women who had overcome unbelievable challenges, things that many Americans can't imagine. And these were women who had not overcome these challenges, but were becoming agents of change to make sure that other women, other girls, didn't have to face these challenges. We realized early on that in order to get as much attention as we wanted on this project and on the broader campaign of helping women and girls, that it would benefit us to enlist celebrities.
Welcome to our hospital.
Thank you so much.
If we were truthful, I don't think we knew what we were asking the actresses to do when we asked them. And I don't think they knew what they were agreeing to when they came.
Welcome.
The actresses that ended up saying yes said yes immediately. There wasn't a hesitation.
Thank you.
The conditions in these places were brutal. Incredibly hot, humid, sweat dripping.
Nice and sweaty for you.
Well, sometimes that's part of the problem. It's like,
oh, maybe I shorted it out
no,
with my
it's
back
just
sweat.
the heat, you know what I mean? It's just get the...
In Sierra Leone, all of our crew got sick.
I was on the pod all morning, Nick. How about you?
And we kept on filming.
You ready?
I try to speak his language. I do it with the goats.
It was really surprising to me how easy it was to work with all of our actresses, how wonderful they were, how engaged.
Very, very, very proud of you.
How they were up for basically everything.
We're getting up at 5 and we're leaving here at 6.
I can imagine they don't often get call times with 4 hours of sleep and a 16-hour shoot day.
You knew you didn't do anything wrong, and you still believe that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's been, frankly, kind of overwhelming emotionally for Eva. This morning, I went by her room, and she was crying. And she said it just, you know, she runs into these girls who endured terrible things, and she feels powerless to help. And she also feels some survivor's guilt that, you know, she won the lottery of life and these girls lost.
Every single one of them ended the trips saying that it was one of the most profound experiences of their life.
I think pretty much all of them coming back said they wanted to help either a specific girl or a specific woman or the specific NGO with money from their own pocket. I mean, it was surprising to us. It was something that we didn't expect.
And have you spent time in Canberra?
Canberra, yeah. Oh. The talking points? Yeah, basically, I don't really know anything about it.
Well, that's good that you're here.
You're here to figure out a lot.
I brought the wrong guy.
Yeah, that's right.
When you travel with Nick Kristof, he's not exactly what you think he's going to be. Considering how well known he is in this field, he's just incredibly generous and incredibly normal.
Safaricom is the big one, or is one of the big companies here, and I think that's private, although if it's not, then they'll presumably cut out this part of the conversation.
Right. He's not checking himself. He's not concerned with what someone's going to think of him. He's just not like that in any way.
So you want me to walk on this side of the road or on that side of the road? Got it. On the sidewalk or on the street?
Sheryl came with us to Kenya and was great to work with.
That was good. I feel like when you talk louder, it sounds
It's better.
more emphatic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She can give all kinds of statistics and speak about big picture ideas, but then bring them back down to a very human level.
He thinks for this calendar year?
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear which calendar it is.
Nick and Sheryl are a perfect match. They're both ready to go at the drop of a hat, never saying no.
They're very different as people. They're very independent, and they have different messages. I mean, Nick is right down to the smallest detail as an incredible reporter. Sheryl is, yes, this incredible detail, this incredible grain of sand, but we're on a beach, and we have to talk about the beach.
800,000 people per year trafficked across international borders.
And we have to think about how big this problem is, not only in this country, but in this world. Fabulous combination.
One of the girls who has meant the most to Sheryl and me here in Cambodia is Long Pros, the little broken, shattered girl who had had her eye gouged out by a brothel owner.
Everybody on the project was really, I think, drawn to the way that Nick and Sheryl use individual stories to really open people's eyes to larger issues.
When he gets money, he goes to the beer.
Every night does he go drink beer?
He's a drunkard.
I see. But he gets the money from you to buy beer?
At times he could ask for money in a fight, and I always refuse.
It was really fun to see Nick in the field. I think that process of question asking is just fascinating to watch. Man, I could watch it for hours.
So all this area on Long Vang is Khmer Rouge before.
I see.
It's still dangerous. I was in there because
Nick is one of the most intrepid people I've ever met, and he's tireless. And so just keeping up with Nick, I think, was a challenge in and of itself.
Would it be bad if we just knocked and said,
No, we can try.
we're journalists, can we take a look at what a brothel looks like?
He really is a true reporter. I mean, he is completely and totally focused on the story and on the moment.
Can we go ask that shop owner who buys most of the soda, whether
It's like jump on the train, because it just left the station, and we've got to go with him.
So you have had the men buy the soda, the women buy the milk for the children.
I see. I see.
Wow.
The brothel raid in An Luang Vang was incredibly dangerous. An Luang Vang was the last stronghold of Pol Pot, and it's an area that still, even today, is under former Khmer Rouge military control.
Even I wear my glasses.
Somali was incredibly brave, but it was the first time we saw her get the jitters. And she was very worried because this was a military brothel. We had heard that the military commander had called in reinforcements. The police had not had an opportunity to take his cell phone before he placed a call to friends in the military, and there was 2 jeeps of armed soldiers coming to take back the brothel and overpower the police. A crowd started forming around the brothel, and there was definitely a feeling of a standoff, that at any second, one wrong move, terrible things could start happening. And it was at that point that Somali said it was time to go, and we made sure the girls were being rescued, got in our cars, and took off.
Nick did about 2 columns from every location that we went to. You know, he'll ride on the back of a bus, and suddenly you turn and he's got the computer and it's open, and he seems to have focus through anything. But amazingly, those columns were absolutely life-changing. And for the organizations that we were following, as soon as those columns came out on a Thursday, by a Sunday, they had, in many cases, hundreds and thousands of dollars that were donated. I don't want her to suffer like this. I think that on a personal level, I was absolutely floored by people's ability to keep going on and to find moments of joy or next steps amidst really heartbreaking tragedy. These women and these girls are more brave and more inspiring than anything that you could write on a page.
Have This Guy the book and Have This Guy the project want to leave people feeling there is not just hope, but there are many, many ways forward.
I think our project is the beginning, a very necessary beginning, to a long road ahead of us.
We've always had that sense of read a story or write a check. And that check can be $10, and that $10 can be very meaningful somewhere around the world. But there are more things to do. There's ways to be directly empowered yourself and spread that word and turn that word into an action or a deed. Or maybe it is money, or maybe it's money that inspires other money.
What we hope our project will do is to bring the conversation about women and girls and the challenges facing women and girls inside the home.